right. Good to be back.
Yes, yes, sir.
Folks, we
Oh
are
my gosh, you
in
guys.
on the Patriot Hour. I noticed it went from like 10 people to 600, like that. Awesome.
Boom, boom, you guys. Oh my gosh.
So we're
This is
also
amazing.
dual casting. We're going to see how it works, but I noticed I got one device open to see the Patriot tech as well. So
Okay.
dual. Awesome. People in both
This is
rooms.
amazing.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's amazing. How are you guys out there? Man, back at it. It's been a long time for the Patriot Hour. They were doing all kinds of administrative shadow banning without giving any notifications or reasoning why. And all of a sudden, who knows? Blessings that we're back on, brother. What
Yeah,
do you guys think about it?
I got an alert that said live stream unlocked, and I was like, "What?" And then I was like, "Patriot Hour."
Oh, it
Oh
was
man,
pandemonium in the studio.
yes. So let's jump right into it here, Ben. You have a good story. Let me turn this echo down.
Let me get this off here.
You had a good story. You had a good story with actual family today, without going into too much detail on that. But government employee kind of affected by the
Yeah, we
shutdown.
had yeah, we went over Garage Talk many times, and we wanted to know, was this whole temporary pay for the governmental employees that are deemed as a non-essential. Are they going to get their whole furlough payment? How is this going to work? What's going on? And no, I had talked to a government employee today, and I was just asking, hey, have you gotten paid? What's going on? And they have confirmed, yes, they've gotten paid. I asked about the furlough, like the back payment, and they said, nope, it's all currently up to pay. All their pay is up currently. And I believe it's the 15th we had talked about on you put
February.
on a couple of your shows. Yeah, February 15th. And that's where so basically they're all paid up. They're going to have a couple paychecks coming. And then, of course, February 15th is where we're going to be back at where we were just a little while ago. So that was a blessing, and we're real thankful that all of our, all the people can get back to work. They can get paid, however they were getting by, so that was a huge blessing. And I just want to give a shout out that it is, it's a good thing. And so I guess our fingers are crossed until the 15th of next month to see if we can get that wall going.
Oh, we just got a super chat. Super chats. I forgot about those,
my
you guys.
gosh. Yeah, you guys, it's amazing. We got one from
John
John Bartley. Ride or
Bartley.
die. Where we go one, we go all. We also got another one I see up here. Was it for? Here we go. Ian McCullough. Sorry if I butchered your name. You guys are awesome. Super awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, Mike and I were just saying that we are going to be a little bit more surgical with the information and how we disseminate that on this particular channel, the Patriot Hour. This is the team. This is all of our baby here. So the team has worked really hard. By the way, it's
17.
expanding. Man, you guys, this is amazing. It's amazing.
It's been a while.
I will say, it has.
forgot.
I will say, the team here at the Patriot Hour and the guys we got going is growing. All the moderators out there they're just amazing. I think we're coming back bigger, badder than ever. I'm pretty excited. It's because of you guys.
YouTube has just made the announcement. I was reading an article. They're going to start not promoting conspiracy channels, is what they call it. So they've been talking about it. I don't know what that entails, but people already sent me screenshots of ours after they watch it. What do you think about this? And it was like a 5-star rating, and it's up to the people to determine whether or not it'll keep going.
Fake Castle says Q equals Defango. Wrong. We already went over that one. Watch a few episodes ago. On a side note, Mr. Awesome Patriot over there, I see you got a new sign. What's that all about back there?
Oh yeah, the Patriot Hour. Somebody sent that. Went over it last night in a video. How awesome! It's a LED. You got the remote right here, any color. Got it on kind of. I'll get it adjusted better.
Huge blessing, you guys. That's from you patriots out there.
Yes, folks. Well, I wanted to touch a little bit, like you said, on the 15th of February. By the way, so what do you think? Was it a crisis for, what was it, 35 days or something?
I believe it was 35-day shutdown, a partial shutdown.
So with much ruckus coming out of like the left on they're not eating, they're losing their homes, they're sleeping in their cars. I mean, they really went all out. John Morag, thank you. Another courteous.
This is amazing, you guys. It's.
So do you think it was a crisis? I mean, they were at the airport, Don Lemon on CNN, and it was like, it's getting scary over here, folks. Nobody's showing up. There's no security. Like, we really, really need security there at the airports, catching everything.
Well, when you're talking about, and excuse me, I'm trying to get, we're talked about building up the Patriot Hours team. I'm just letting some other team members know, hey, we're going on live. It was kind of a super awesome thing. Yeah, you can see the narrative when they're trying to spin safety and security on the interior of our country.
Brian Gallen.
And then having you not looking at the actual border. And I'm not talking about a fence or anything like that, but the actual, the demarcation line where one nation stops and another one begins, be it be water, natural, whatever, where that border is, that needs to be secured. However that looks, because we know that fences in prisons, I think you were very eloquent on the last little video you put out on. We've already seen this. That's hard empirical data to show us that these archaic walls, as some ignorant individuals put it, are doing their job. The point of where security breaks down and contraband, talking about the prison system, comes in is at the most porous point. The point where human contact and there's this and that, or there's corrupt people involved. So if we're, quote unquote, they say draining the swamp or getting the corruption out of these places and then putting some type of barrier to where a normal human can't just walk across and now they're in our sovereign country, the United States of America.
Because people are saying that they're not even crossing at the empty spots. They're doing all the bad stuff through the other,
right at the points of entry,
via plane, getting on an airport, going over, landing at airport, or border patrol. So if we do what people want, which would be to spend more money in those areas, because we need more money and more manpower, and if we button up those really good, then they would just focus on coming to the areas that we haven't focused on, which are the open spots. So I take it to do 100% or you do nothing, because they're going to say the border wall doesn't work, so we don't want to waste money on doing it, because they'll just go under or over. So then you talk about how's everything happening. And most of the, human trafficking, drug flow, or just the fear number, the illegals that cross, they're saying it's happening in these other places. So how do you take to that?
It's a defeatist argument. If you're saying that we want no walls because this isn't happening, they're pointing out all the weak points in the ports of entry where they are coming in. And if they're saying there's so much this, just take it all down. That shows you where their motivation and how they view not only their individual sovereignty, but the sovereignty of their fellow Americans, which is a scary thing because you know that they're speaking from a point of being brainwashed by the propaganda, the mainstream media, because anybody in their right mind would want to lock on their front door. Why?
Now, these same people wanted to take you down a trip to Chicago and say, if we just ban the handguns, we're like, well, that only is going to work for the legal people.
The law-abiding Americans.
Because it didn't work. And then, so they use illogic over there and they bring it over to other areas, and it never makes sense, folks. It never, we're getting behind on People.
Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. I mean, let's see here. Give a little shout out here. We got Sherry Fire, where we go one, where we go all. Grunt awaiting orders. Hey, there you go. I know that action. What we got here? Randa Malkavic. Little CA, little California, $10. That's awesome.
Becca Tat.
Richie Dillon, 5 euros from across the pond. Always love our patrons across the pond. You guys are doing great things in Paris. You're doing great things in Belgium. You're doing some great things and pushing back.
You guys. So what would be the solution then, Ben? Like for the prison system, you'd think if they wanted to, so we agree that nobody's jumping over the walls, fences.
I agree.
And getting drugs and then jumping back in to sell them. We know that's not probably happening, right?
I would agree with that statement, yes.
So then it leads you to believe, like you said, it's either people that are visiting or guards. Now, you can nip out the people visiting if they did a nationwide no contact, but you have to be between glass and a wall. By the way, there the wall works again, folks. You have this piece of glass, a telephone, and that's your visit. That's inhumane. They need physical contact. Well, maybe we do it for 2 years and we see if all the drugs clear up in the system. If not, then we're led to believe it's the some bad rogue correctional officers, right, Ben? And then from
exactly there... what all that basically does. I mean, if you stop and think about it, that is strategically, forensically investigating your weak points of security. We can't have the prisoners just run out because there's no wall. Put a wall up. Okay, we got to have inhumane, so we got to have their family members come in and visiting, and we got to have people like guards to hold them. So it's coming in that way. Okay, so we cut them off and do that. No, that's not coming in that way. And now the only way is coming in to the correctional officers. Well, then you start doing now you start doing different policies and procedures. Now you can't keep one correctional officer and this and that.
Two
and you
people
change
per,
the way. Yeah, you start changing these things to always hold accountability because you can't trust anybody. And then you could nip in the bud to a point where nothing comes through. Now, again, this is the this is a prison system we're talking about. The Department of Corrections is what we're talking about. Now, if you can parallel that to our country, no, we don't want a military state coming from there and checkpoints at every crossing. Of course not, because we're free. We're not criminals, right? We still have our constitutional rights because we didn't give them up by breaking one of the big ones. So. Yes. The best way we know to do that, and it's worked in other countries, it's worked in wars, it's worked in battles, it's worked in conflicts, and that's just a good old wall. Now, do you want a wall where you can't see through it? Of course not. That's strategically an idiocy building technique. You want to be able to see, even in the castles, they had small little slits to where the archers could at least peer out and shoot at least a 45-degree angle up and down so they can be able to get the thing, but not big enough to where they can shoot back. And that was a wall, a barrier. So when you just use logic in what you're hearing from the mainstream in the way of more technology, more this, okay, that's a part of the equation, but that's not the whole solution.
Yeah. You don't have drones if you don't plan on, I mean, you're not going to have missiles or, gunfire off the drones to take people down. That would alert, So folks, you either go for 100% on anything you do really, or you don't do it at all. You don't go for, I'm looking to have, 75% sealed up my house. No, you go for 100%. A lot of people, like in the video, you lock doors, you lock your back door. You don't lock all your windows and your front door and then just leave I'm going to take the back door off. We don't really need it. That would be foolish. Now you have a vulnerable spot. So you can't listen to these people tell you that, because they're basically, like I said, they're telling you that these other areas aren't working. So then you're like, well, that's a waste of money then if it's not working. So do we have a time that we're in, and it's been going on, where we create agencies like the war on drugs? Isn't it foolish to create a war on drugs, but to have open spots? I mean, we've seen videos of the cartels having backpacks and running the drugs into this country. They're not coming at the checkpoints. And I'm not saying this is the only way, but it seems like if the war on drugs was successful, very long time ago, it would have been nipped in the
Hemmed
butt
up.
and at a real crazy level here. But then now that agency might be forced to kind of, lay off, let go people go. And it seems that's never the case in government agencies or certain positions. Once they get the tax dollars rolling in, they just keep going and going and going. And it's a well-fed machine. And every year they need a little bit more budget, because if you don't ask for more, then they assume you're.
Yeah. Now, being both prior military, we understand military budgets, at least on that side, and even governmental budgets on that side as well, because there is a line of thinking that a department head takes, and that
lose it.
Use it or lose it, exactly. So when you have that pure, simple idea is that we're going to give you, let's just say, $1 billion this year for your department. Now, in the fiscal 2019, we're going to see how much of that $1 billion your department used. And of course, you're going to have every few months, you're going to see how well your people are doing. They're going to be tested, and you're going to get feedback. And if the whole entire year goes by and they only spend, $800 million, why would you give them $1 billion for the next fiscal year? So you see how it works? So if they always use it, the whole entire thing, they ask for more next year. Well, we used it all last year. We need a little bit more this year. The next year, use it or lose it. They use the whole thing. I mean,
if you don't use it all, you risk losing manpower. You risk losing what you can get. It's if you don't hit it right on the nose.
Gluttonous.
They don't really go over. They're going to go right to hit it on the nose, and then they're going to be able to ask for more next year. Well, last year we ran right up to the budget. So there you go. You can't cut off drugs when the CAA is dealing. Yeah, we've seen that time and time again. Mm-hmm. Folks, so now apply that same logic that we've had a war on drugs for 60 years. And a couple years ago, the head of the CIA stood up on TV in front of Congress talking about drugs are more available, drugs are more dangerous. They're at an all-time peak of being in the U.S. They're killing more people than ever. It's just like you're baffled. Like, what the heck is going on with the war on drugs? It's full game is what it is. Now, Trump just does a war on human rights abuse. We're going to keep the borders open. We're going to allow the human rights thing to keep going on, make another agency like the war on drugs, and just let something get well lubed, and it's going to take forever to fight. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. No, that's not what he's trying to do, right? Right, Ben?
I would agree, man. I mean, if you stop and think about it, what has the president's narrative, at least in the last 2 to 3 weeks, been pushing real hard? Human trafficking. Well, human trafficking, and then even the president will explain the situation of how somebody is trafficked. They're bound, they're put in the back of a vehicle, they're carted, and blah, blah, blah. So he's really graphically depicting what's physically happening. Now, you could say, well, that's just human trafficking. Would you say that person's human rights are being violated? There's a need. What he's doing with his executive orders is he's setting up. He's putting it in, if you will. He knows the long game. He's not playing a really hard long game, because he knows once we're at the precipice, because people are coming to the southern border. There's a third caravan coming up here, even bigger than the second one, even bigger than the first one, but the mainstream media is not covering it. So if he starts propping up all these little executive orders that talk about human trafficking, rights against human abuse, rights against child abuse, all these different things, and then it starts automatically declaring a national emergency on that particular act. Not so much the border security, because your mainstream media is going to talk about border security. What his narrative is human rights abuse, human trafficking, the pedophilia, this that's happening right now, because that is of a higher importance, and the only cause and effect from that evil is a wall. Is a barrier, is a steel slatted something that will not allow the average person to just walk across it. And even at that, man, not even the most fittest, rock climbing, whatever mercenary kind of guy who gets across. So
I agree, brother. You guys, so he's not trying, and by sealing up the border, it's going to knock out a lot of different things, right? It's going to knock out possibly some more of the drugs. It's going to help the war on drugs for the fentanyl, heroin, and meth that are destroying neighborhoods and families and separating people.
Why don't we talk? Yeah, why don't we ever talk about our northern border? Are there any atrocities happening on our northern border?
Well,
people say, of course not. It's Canada. No. Well, they got some pretty good laws over there about illegal immigration, and they're pretty serious about their border. We make fun of the Mounties on the horses.
Not that it doesn't happen, but
yeah, you're right.
It's it's not as free flow, folks. They got to get into their country, you have to do things, and so again, Christina Feliciano, Kathy James. Thank you guys. I wrote down your names. One of you disappeared, but super chats, awesome. We appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, super huge blessings, you guys. I mean, there's over 1,000 of you Patriots in here right now watching, maybe even more here.
We got 200 in the on the Patriot Tech 207, and I'm seeing 1,079. It was just over 1,100. But folks,
amazing,
this is awesome.
Amazing, you guys. It's mine is blown, you guys.
Glad to be back on the Patriot Hour. So going off that, what else did we find out? Trump did write up a executive order on the border. I can grab that here. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I got it saved.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. Secure your perimeter, if it's your home, your property, your community, your county, whatever it is, man. And it goes bigger from there. If you can't really understand that, how else can I can't scream it at you. I can't punch you with truth in the face so much to where you're like, oh, I guess that makes perfect sense. No, it's quite obvious. And you just do a little bit of history, a little bit of research on history. I'm not even talking like 20 years ago. I'm talking like 5 years ago. And they're all saying just what Trump's saying, that there's a huge need. But remember, nothing happened. No executive orders were written for the... There you go. Go ahead, Mike. What does this one say now?
All right. So this one was written... Let me get a little bigger. All right. This one was written on January 25th of 17.
Mm-hmm.
Border security and immigration enforcement improvements. So we got by the power vested in the president, Constitution, Secure Fence Act of 06, Immigration Responsibility Act of 96. And then it just goes over everything. I mean, we can...
Oh, yeah. You guys could see it. You can go over it. I mean...
We know what it's, telling us. But the recent surge of illegal immigration at the southern border with Mexico, strain on federal resources, overwhelmed agencies, backed up our court systems. I mean, we know what's going on. But so with that executive order, with the executive order on human rights, and then if you have that happening, it's like when you have the war on drugs and you want to take everyone's tax dollars to help combat it, but then you leave loopholes. That's why I don't get, it's either 100% or nothing. So if you're going to create the war on human trafficking, I would hope that you're going to secure up the border, try to stop it, not be like, they're not even coming in that way. Let's focus over here where they're really coming in. Well, it's like we got people there and tons of jobs that we pay per year, a lot of tax dollars, and it's not working. Then let's quit doing that. Well, that's foolish. It does stop some of it. Well, so would the border wall. You don't think the border wall is going to stop, some older people possibly from trying to climb it if it's 17, 20 feet tall? I don't know.
No, I agree. And we're not trying to beat a dead horse, you guys, but what we are trying to do is to get you to think critically.
Yes.
You can't let other people think for you and tell you how to think and then say, well, we don't need a wall, but we need this. That's not working, but we can't have that. You got to understand it. If there's no...
Because that's all people are taking it to.
Yeah.
The money. I don't want to waste the money. Well, we're wasting money over here. You're telling me that it's not working over there. So therefore it's a waste of money. And then they would, well, it's kind of working. I don't know what they get into or what they'll keep saying because I don't typically listen long enough because I know it needs to happen. You can't do it without it, folks. You can't fight the war on drugs. You can't fight the war on illegal immigration. You can't fight the war on human trafficking, sex trafficking. You just can't.
What's the point of having a war if you're trying to end the current one? I mean, we've told you guys before that the powers that be that have been controlling, that we're at battle with, they want perpetual war. They want that. So when there's signs of things that can happen to stop the wars, everybody's pushing back. Like that tells you right there that there's a lot of sheeple.
And 2/3 of Americans, folks, 2/3 of you guys, 2/3 of this country live in border zones. A lot of you didn't know that, but because of the coastways, you know, the East Coast, West Coast, northern border, southern border, and 100 miles inward, 100 miles inward all the way around. And that's where 2/3, because you're hitting New York, you're hitting Chicago, which because of the Great Lakes, and then
you're hitting all of Michigan, you're hitting all of the northern states, California. I mean, you think about
all
that.
Of California, but yeah, 100 miles in. So we got people living in hell, literally down at the southern border, but 100 miles up, 60, 80 miles up, where they've set up a bunch of federal employees there. They get guns shoved in their face every day, going to work on the way home from work. And then they find out you're a citizen, then they're like, well, what else you got in your car? They just start being like a typical, like, we got you pulled over, might as well just harass you a little bit. And Americans are tired of it. So you watch some of these videos, they're getting windows broke out, drug out of their cars. I handed the guy 4 IDs showing I was a citizen. It should have been done at that point, but then they're like, well, what you got in the back seat there? It looks like a lunchbox. What you got for lunch today?
What's in there?
And they just start harassing you. And that's not very fair and not very free and not very good for them. So there is an issue, and it needs to be taken care of, folks. And we got to believe by the 15th. What do you think, Ben? I mean,
well, I think it's got to be a no-brainer. How many times has our president tried to make concessions? And let's be honest, the left was trying to make concessions too. They were writing up their proposals. It was highly Ruski-fied, if I could use that terminology.
Nothing for the border.
Nothing for the border, and you know, Trump and his administration, that was their counter proposal. This is how deals get made. Our president likes to make deals. If you don't know that now, let me just explain that he's a CEO of a corporation that needs to make deals that makes profit for the corporation. When China was giving zero into our coffers, now there's billions. What does that tell you? So if he wants to make a deal, how many times has he been to make concessions? Even his last little speech he gave, a lot of the oomph was taken out of our sails because we're going to do DACA. It's going to be a good thing. And he's doing his thing. And we're like, wow, that's not constitutional. But so he's given this, and you could see that, okay, I got to give stuff that I don't like. We can see the back and forth.
And that is,
but there's only going to be so much back and forth before that stops and say, okay, you don't want to make a deal, therefore we have to go the hard way. And we all know the hard way. We've been preparing for that.
We were talking about this the last couple weeks, I guess, or a good week, is all these other presidents, both sides. We can go back to Clinton, then to Bush, and then to Obama. You've heard about the money for the border. You've heard about under Bush, it was 50 billion or 25 billion for a virtual wall, a wall of technology. It never happened, folks. The talking points out in the open, back in the past, both sides, they would say what sounded good. But nothing would ever really get done. So it's like either, did the monies not go through, or did they just use it for elsewhere? We're going to research into that. But I did find that interesting.
Well, I know that, even when they proposed all these things, remember, these are proposals. And there was a lot of pompous and a lot of rhetoric whipped up around these proposals. And they said the hot words because out of most presidents besides our current one, you don't really ever talk about, illegal immigration. You don't really talk about minorities. You don't really talk about that on your campaign trail or in your midterm, because that's a real touchy subject and people don't want to. It's like if you got family skeletons in the closet, you just sweep it under the rug and hopefully at the next dinner everybody gets together, nobody talks about it. That's kind of how most politicians work when it comes to our finances, our budget. They say things that don't really mean what really fiscally and financially they are doing, because they just think we're too dumb to understand this.
So we found that out with Hillary. Like, she had paperwork got released or whatever it was. She was telling the 1%ers, the people on Wall Street, don't listen to me when I talk to the people on that TV tube. When I'm talking to you guys, I'm coming here. I'm going to talk to you like I am today. But when I'm on TV, you don't watch that, because I say something to them and then I say something to you guys. That's how it works, folks. That is exactly how it works. That's...
Well, I'm just going back here, by the way. Pete P. Sermonte, he asked, why didn't Q ever mention the hammer? This bothers me. Well, Q hasn't mentioned a lot of stuff, and it's still nothing current has come out. There's a lot of things that he talked about, or the team, we're speculating, talked about early on, 100 posts ago, 1,000 posts ago. So, hey, you let us know what you think. Honestly, there's a lot of things I'm looking for that hadn't been dropped yet, and I'm kind of anxiously awaiting. So that is a good question.
Oops, I cut you off. Hold on here. How you doing?
This guy, man, right. Look at this. This is beautiful stuff.
All right. This is a Patriot Hour, folks. So this is the last one I put up. Read this one, Ben.
Process crimes. FBI gets obstruction on Roger Stone, but Hillary acid washes sled hammer phones. Mishandled classified information. This information is so classified, only about 300 people have clearances to see it. But nothing, no charges, fair, double standard, justice at FBI.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we're all fair. If Roger Stone, they're getting him on a process crime. We're not saying it's not serious or not a crime. It's a crime, but it's not what, the FBI doesn't set out to say, let's see if we can't get go get a process crime over there on this guy. I mean, that's what you get when you, just an extra, that's like an extra charge normally when you're going after somebody. That's not the only thing you come out with.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people get pulled over, and if they don't know their rights, and they get all hemmed up, and when they finally get to court, there's like 3 or 4 more charges tacked on to the original crime that you're charged you were. This is how it goes, people. If you don't understand this, if you don't understand your God-given sovereign rights, then they'll do the best they can to do an old number on you.
So we just want justice, folks, and that's the whole thing. That's the difference here. It's not like Roger Stone's done nothing or I don't know. I mean, we're seeing things. They're telling us things. That's how it looks, right? But
we tell you, we don't know. We don't know the private, classified, top secret information that none of the public has access to. Neither do you. We don't know this stuff. We're trying to take what we have in the public eye here, make connections, and then critically think, no charges? Is this fair? Are we looking at a double standard here? There's no justice that we could see. As IT specialists, we look at the IT side of things, but as prior military, I look at the sheer crime of taking information out of a secured area and like, well, it's all electronic. It was her server, and she acid washes it, and so, oh, I cleaned it off. It was dusty. These people are not stupid.
Yeah,
they know exactly what they're doing.
Otherwise,
exactly.
But I'm just saying, they get him on a process crime, which is like obstruction. You're trying to hide stuff from us. That's exactly what happened right here. By acid washing, sledgehammering phones, mishandling of classified information. But no charges.
What else do you call that? I don't know what else that's called. That's not. Is it? People get off real crimes that they really committed every day because of how the authorities mishandled or the flow of security for evidence. You know, I mean, this happens all the time.
Here we go. We'll go to a few more here on the old Trumpster. He retweeted one here. 300 people are dying from heroin overdoses in a week in this country. 90% of it's coming from the southern border. So when they make a statement like that, you don't know if it's, you know, at the checkpoints.
Well, I would take that as, 300 people are dying from heroin. I think it's a lot more in America, but 90% of drugs come from the southern border. I would think that's true. Read between the lines.
Here we go. We're not even into February, and the cost of illegal immigration so far this year is, what is that?
$18,959,495,168.
Cost Friday was $603 billion. Oh wait, is that billion?
Million.
Million.
That's million.
There you go. Well,
603 million,
folks. Look at that.
392.
So just
that's huge.
Wow. Wow.
So 18 billion. Let's just say it's not 18.95. Let's just say 19. Why not?
Let's just say 19. We're only at
19 billion.
There are at least,
I mean, people, it's
25 million illegal aliens, not the 11 million. So we're saying that there's 25 million in the country, not 11 anymore. They've been using that number for 10 years anyway.
Yeah, how does that work? Using the same number for 10 years? That doesn't even make sense.
And how do you even know? I mean, I know there's ways to kind of know, but not really. Not an exact, accurate number for illegals, because they've entered without you knowing. How do you know? You're not keeping...
Well, the numbers we get are going to be taken from health services, any type of law enforcement organizations. And the numbers we have are only the people we've caught, only the people we've treated. So if it's at $18 billion that we know we can track via the healthcare on the immigration cost, different programs they applied for. How about, I've heard there's some colleges now accepting applications for undocumented workers. Like, are you serious? So, and you made a good point. What about all the black market nefarious things that go on that we don't know about? Because it is something we can't really get a grip on the total number, but we have a good idea about the healthcare cost of illegal immigrants. Why?
Yes.
Well, because insurance companies damn well know where their money goes, and they want to make sure who's paying for what. And if you got a guy who comes in, any one of us, if we go to the hospital, it's the first thing they ask you. Not, are you okay or bleeding? Do you have insurance? I mean, you know, it's so it's now people were saying if there's some buffering issue.
We are got a healthy live stream, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, I do see it looking a little. Let me see.
I don't know. I got a pretty good feed over here in my other machine. But again, we're doing this show. It's kind of hard to watch it and see, but you guys are awesome. Let us know if
yeah, do you guys, anybody have a buffering issue? Let me know. I mean, I've got a perfect green, healthy signal.
Yeah, I got it going over here in my connection, but Mike and I have pretty robust. Yeah, nice. No, we both have pretty robust internet connections, download and upload. So, depending on what device that you're streaming this on.
Just me being me, I see you.
Nice.
All right. Any good questions? Let's take it to some of the questions. We want to talk to the people for a bit here before hitting the 40-minute mark. We're all right. We're going to keep going. But what you got? Any talking points?
Deep State enjoying vacation. Net Hernandez. Yeah, right. I would agree with that one.
The deep state getting kickback from the drug smuggling, child sex trafficking, and crimes. That's why they don't want a wall. Kathy James, I couldn't agree more. I know we don't say a lot like that, but that is it. We want you guys to come to those conclusions, possibly yourself. What else is there? What else could it be?
Yeah, you can't. Exactly. Lots of love from the UK over there, Kurt K. Again, we always say love our Patriots across the pond. You guys are doing some really awesome things against the central bankers over there.
Where's Ellie at? Or where's Elle?
Oh, she's there. What's up? There she go. At Patriot Hour. Wrenches. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
hey.
Yep. Let me get you. They wiped all of us out.
Yeah, they reset everything. We had to start from. See, yeah, a lot of them was buffering bad. That's interesting, you guys, because it's over here. It's from the studio. It's man, that's interesting.
Rand Patterson, Pro Gun 1. It's never like this. Never freezes this bad. Is it freezing that bad?
I don't know, man. I'm sitting over here. 505 no buffering. Yeah, no, we're trying to put out a good feed to where, now another thing too, if your device is having an issue, we pump out at 1080p. So we're pumping out this show at this quality. But if you have like a bad connection, try bumping down your quality to make maybe a 720 or something like that. That may be a little better quality, maybe not buffering as much for you guys. Yes, let's see here. Long 35 VA. Have you seen Obama? Mike and I were just talking about that in Garage Talk. We haven't seen Clinton's.
I think just postings, or did he go somewhere? I don't know. A lot of them have been seen at this point. A lot of the postings. RGB though, yes. Where's she at?
Yeah.
Are there any other mods here? I can't. David, there's David. Hold up.
Nice. Oh, Woodruff. Yeah. Well, no, we were talking about that. We can't tell if Obama. Obviously, all the latest tweets and the latest posts have all been either pictures from prior years. We haven't really delved too far in that, but we were saying more on the mainstream level. Obama, the Obamas, the Clintons, some of these guys who are real forerunners have gone away. They're not in the news anymore. They're not preaching. They're not giving speeches. They're not going talking to this. I mean, think about that. Why all of a sudden they've gone quiet and they've gone away. So, yeah, it's almost like, hashtag where's the deep staters?
I need two things. David Seaman. Damn it, I don't want to mess it up. Seaman. David Seaman.
Okay.
Seaman. To post. And then hashtag where's Robert Melendez?
Yeah, where is Robert? We were asking
where is
Who
Robert?
Knows if now he may be doing an off-grid operation on the zone for reconnaissance.
30 days of darkness, folks. It's been longer than that, though.
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
Oh, Chris Stockton, if he was up in there, I don't know who.
Yeah, where's Chris?
Let's see what else you guys are saying. What do we know about Mueller?
No Amy. Love in Texas. All right, so let me see here. Let me stop. I'm going to stop the Patriot Tech, folks. I know there's 266 of you over there. I hate to do it. I'm going to stop the Patriot Tech. Maybe that'll help. I don't know if it's, I doubt it's on my end, but I'll stop it.
We'll try it. Okay.
And you guys can jump over here to the Patriot Hour.
Yeah, jump over to the Patriot Hour. Yeah.
Same show.
I mean, we should get. Yeah. Same live action, people.
I don't know which one's which. Dang it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I can look.
See, man, thanks.
That's the Patriot Hour.
You're awesome, brother. Yeah, what's up, Derek? Build the wall.
All right. Patriot Tech over and out. Get over to the Patriot Hour. Join us. We're still going.
Yep, still going.
All right.
Yeah, no, let's see here. RGB on ice. We were talking about that as well. Yeah, they're all hiding out at Gitmo. Mary Lindsay, you're right. They're gonna be hiding there for a long time.
I'm looking, Lorian. Got to knock out a few.
I know that Obama, Tracy Benna said Obama tweeted on MLK Day. Oh, okay. Do you know if his tweet was just a bunch of words, or was there a picture associated with him? Was he doing a selfie, or was it just a post like Martin Luther King Jr., whatever? Because we were kind of talking, we want some photographic proof, because anybody can take over somebody's tweet, Facebook, and that account, and you can post all you want. Or what we were seeing is there's no real current pictures, because usually on these social media sites, people are going to do selfies or you take pictures of whatever, or they're going to, they're going to take pictures of their agenda, and they've been doing that for years, and all of a sudden they've stopped posting pictures.
So now we're getting it from people. That,
Long 35. What's up?
It's blurry and crazy here in the Patriot Tech, they're saying, or Patriot Hour, but it wasn't at.
Well, again, folks, they just gave it back to us. So, I mean, you're talking. I know Mike has.
Well, why don't we do this? We'll shut this one down. It was good for the beginning, and we'll come back.
Yeah, this is awesome.
It sucks that we got 1,200 people in the room. I see it. I mean, it looks horrible on my little screen here.
Beautiful, yeah. I don't understand. Hey, you guys, we're coming at you. Let's take a little garage talk break. We'll go a little round two. Hopefully,
we'll be back by 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock p.m.
There you go.
Ooh, it looks good now on my screen.
Hey, it's just,
but
you can
we'll
tell
shut her down.
They're messing with us.
We're going to bring it back up. We hope you all join us. Give us about 15 minutes. I'll make a few adjustments, and we'll see what happens.